So what kind of things are you seeing in your community? What are the needs that you're seeing? What kind of help can we give people in our community?
Are you talking about something that we can do in the next 2 or 3 months, or
Right.
for something out after in the next Rotary year?
Well, that too, but because the need is right now. Okay, so what is now? So what can we do in the next 2 months with, say, if we had 25,000 to go to projects around the state, so you had $1,000 or $5,000, like how we did last year, to help people. If there are areas that we need to help. If everything is fine, then we don't need to do that. But do you see that there are needs? Can we help somewhere?
Kelly.
Well, one
Does it
area
have-
of the food
Join
banks.
Go
the
ahead.
meeting.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Rick?
Yeah,
Right.
I was mentioning one area where
I was there to help family and holiday, and
Hang
their
on.
dad's
Hang on.
well, so this is kind of
yeah,
Okay, Rick.
one area that I have noticed that require a lot of help are the food banks, such as the Hawaii Food Bank and the Aloha Harvest are very often asking for help and support. I don't know how. That's just one idea. We can discuss and see how that fits into the priority.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, Naomi, at our meeting today, we heard from one of our outreach leaders who up in Waimea has found an organization that is literally trying to supply baby diapers to families that are in incredible need. So that's what our club is organizing right now. It's both a repackaging program from bigger packs to smallers, and then how we can use the month of March for everybody to donate money to help this cause.
Okay. Sharon?
Sharon, your audio's not working. It doesn't look like you're muted, but audio's not working. Nope, can't hear you. You can hear us, right? You can hear us pretty good. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
You
some
must be on,
reason.
Bluetooth. You may be on Bluetooth audio. No. Uh-oh.
You know what you can do, Sharon, is put it down in the chat. See if you can write it down in the chat, because we're unable to hear you.
Is there any way we can get money to the people who are not getting their unemployment checks for whatever reason?
Hard to validate.
Right? But very tough on those people who are not getting theirs.
Yeah.
Glenn, did you have something?
Well, I did meet with the US Vets again 2 weeks ago with a couple of members of my club. As you know, we have a grant starting this year that we see is going to continue next year for the 35. Somebody's got something on. Somebody's got something on there that's giving me feedback. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't see the state really getting this project completed until after the first of July, somewhere between July and the end of the year. It's 35 homes that are going to be for one individual. 10 of the homes are dedicated to vets. The others will be used by the local community. And with a centralized, something's coming in feedback.
Yeah.
There's a centralized building that's being put together with a kitchen and showers and that type of thing. But it is a project that we could do as a group like we did several years ago where we had 8 or 9 Rotary clubs go out there. What we're doing right now is buying the beds. They're going to put them in storage, and then when the homes are ready, we'll go out and put them all together and set everything up for the furnishings inside. So that's a project, what I call, has a beginning, middle, and an end that might be a candidate. It's not COVID related, but more addresses the homelessness in the state.
Mark,
Naomi-
what do you, yeah,
Oh, sorry, this is Cece. So I can build a little bit on that. So I know you know about this project, but the city and county is receiving COVID money for their ESG grant. They're getting an infusion of $11 million to house rapid rehousing dollars to place families who most of them, just have been struggling during COVID. So they're looking to actually house about 300 families between now and August 2022. And I think one area we were talking about possibly supporting is move-in kits, similar, or welcome baskets, welcome kits, similar to what our Rotary Club was doing for the Cahiel Village. So that's one area if the district would be interested in getting involved, or at least the Oahu organizations and clubs. The second one is from the West Honolulu Rotary Club. We've met with a couple of our elementary schools. And as you all know, the state budget isn't looking well. So a lot of them are getting some budget slashed. And one area they could use support is students return back to school as a PPE, anywhere from just having extra masks, shields, hand sanitizer, but also like the desk separators. That's something they did share that is just not necessarily wasn't even in their budget beforehand, of course. And then now it's definitely not going to be in the budget. So we did a donation, but I can see, that being another need.
okay. Mark, on Maui, what's going on Maui?
Mark, you gotta unmute, Mark.
It's a similar situation to what I described before, where we're not really hurting for the food bank is not really hurting for food funds, but they are still, we donated $5,000 for sanitary goods and, various non-food items. And those went in one distribution. There were like 500 cars. So that was it. So that stuff, like I'm hearing the diaper project from Sharon, and that sounds like a fantastic project. That's the kind of thing. Right now, the food bank can buy as much food as it needs for the next 4 to 5 months, but they have no money for non-food items. The other thing that's happening on Maui is that a lot of the nonprofits are gearing up for post-COVID. So for the last 8 to 9 months, they have not been able to have significant contact with their clients. So getting back in the groove is going to require a whole different orientation to budgeting. So, and we're in February, so this is a great time for them to think about, what can we do for $1,000 or $5,000? It can really, it can help if it's done strategically.
Okay. Okay, other comments?
We kind of tossed around this idea in our kind of our East Hawaii service meeting last week, and that there's a number of us, Sharon's one of them, that is volunteering right now with the Department of Health's effort to get vaccinations, to make appointments for vaccinations. And right now we're working on the 75 plus group And they just announced now they're gonna open the 65 plus group on March 1st. So what they used to sort of mobilize us was a platform called Sign Up Genius, which allows you basically to put information about your event, and then you can sign up to participate in that event. So our idea was that if we took all the East Hawaii clubs, and we could actually, now that I think of it, include North Hawaii and even all the West Hawaii clubs, and all got together, we could utilize this Sign Up Genius platform where we could post all of our community events, and then people from any club could sign up for it. So now, instead of just, having 40 Rotarians in your club, now you got the almost 300 of them on the island that could feed into that. So when we looked at the cost of that platform for the size that we needed, and the number of administrators we would need, it's about $260 a year. So I think if the district could give us like $500, so we could do it for the next couple of years until, we could prove that it could work and it was real effective. And then it will be easy for all the clubs to pitch in and, and pay the yearly costs for running that platform. So, it just, all it does is just help us to mobilize quicker everybody on our island, on Hawaii Island. So that's just an idea. If you're looking for ways in which to spend that money, there's an idea.
Okay. Randy, Steve, what's going on? What are the needs in your community?
Well, of course, Benson and Sharon have probably expressed, sorry for me being late, but transitioning from the previous call that we were on, Naomi, to this one, to getting in the house. And anyway, I think the need, it's probably been expressed well by Sharon and Benson. Yeah, I would just say, that whatever we do has to tie into PI, or should tie into PI, so the community at large understands what we are doing, whether it's food bank or the diaper program or whatever, that it gets noticed. We're just not another number on the tally sheet. So, but I don't have anything yet in specifics as far as, and I should have taken the time, but this is about my 5th Zoom meeting today. I should have taken some time to prepare a little bit and thought about it before I got on here.
Okay. What about Sarah, David, Carol, Stephen?
April, are you, do you want to announce kind of what our project coming up for April?
Yeah, let's hold off on the that project for now. So if we can just kind of talk about what the needs are out there.
Needs-based, yeah.
Yeah. What are people hurting out there? Do they need Rotary to help them? What can we do to help people now if there is a need?
Yeah, I'm sorry if I could just cut in real quick. I'm not exactly sure what the needs of the community are, and I think I probably speak for a lot of us that it's really hard to tell what everybody needs from the community, because the community as a whole is pretty much shut down, and they're not talking to anybody, and they're not going out, they're not doing anything. So I mean, I think it's really hard at this point in time to see exactly what people need if nobody's leaving their house.
Okay, Carol?
Well, the community that we work with, good evening, everyone. Are usually the houseless and the domestic shelters. And they, of course, also just like I think a few people were saying, they're not really talking a lot, but what we have been able to provide, besides the meals, we haven't stopped since the pandemic started. We still provide 2 dinners a month. And the domestic shelters were in need of clothing and of course, just basic supplies because all of them don't work anymore. So maybe those are the things that they still need, just the little things that we can provide that, but in general, the community is in need of work, of course. So if you have a small business and you can employ someone to prune your garden, cut your grass, and mainly that will help because one of the gentlemen that we kind of talked to still, he said mainly it was just company, because they were houseless or living in the shelters. They've been totally cut off from any interaction because we just drop food off now, right? We just drop the meals off and the workers there feed them. So they're not getting to talk to anybody in the community or have any kind of conversation. So that is what they're missing. And then they don't have the tools like this, like Zoom, or a computer that they can interact with other people. So just my own personal opinion is that a lot of they just need somebody to know that it's going to be okay, right? We know that it's going to be okay because we talk to each other constantly, sometimes 3-4 times a week. Most of us still work or totally retired and live off of that. But a lot of people out there just need, not tangible things. They just need some emotional support. That would be my 2 cents. So.
Naomi, I actually think it's 2 things, right? Because what Lonnie said is absolutely correct, right? What our community needs and where Rotary can make an impact are actually two completely different things, because people need help getting their unemployment checks. I mean, people need help keeping their business from going out of business. People need help connecting on the broadband. People need help getting some device that their kid can get on so that they can go to school. So those are probably bigger and broader problems that we as Rotarians may not be able to impact. But this program that Sharon laid out, doing diapers, getting diapers together, donating money to food banks, those kinds of things where they're not humongous things, that the government has to basically take care of, but places where we as Rotarians can make an impact. And there's lots of like little projects that you might be able to. Sharon, you want to say something? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't hear you now. We're back from your, hang on. Yeah, Sharon, unfortunately, we can't hear you, and when you unmute yourself, there's a feedback that comes on, so you might have to put something down in the chat. So
okay, I think Glenn wants to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you because one of the things that I've discovered is that a lot of the nonprofits that were taking care of people at the first rung of relief are losing their funding, and the state has stopped giving to some of them. And like we've been supporting for years the women's shelter, Women in Need. And I don't know someone's got their mic open and there's a feedback like crazy. That
yeah, I got it.
Maybe it's mine. I don't know. Anyway, So you have to ask them, you have to go to the people who are running it to find out what the needs are. And one of the things we discovered, people at the lowest level of the people who are just starting out in their trying to get back on their feet, they were the first ones to lose their jobs. And so income that they were using to buy food and those types of things all dried up. And one of the things we did is we bought Foodland gift cards that we gave to the managers of the Women in Need shelter, and they took the ladies shopping, and they, you know, we gave them enough to last them for several months because they're not working. All of those people that were in there, they were in, you know, starter type jobs that all dried up very quickly when COVID started. So I think you really have to go for the Rotary clubs to go look and talk with these folks. They're on the front line, the people who manage these shelters and that type of thing, and maybe come up with a project that way. I agree that the bigger issues, things like managing the money, who's going to get the relief, the state's done a very poor job doing that. They've got people that are sitting there, but can we really impact that? Probably not. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to be that guy to make a comment on this, but regarding the people that are, you know, in serious need of, you know, say, you know, the food and whatnot, if any Hawaii citizen is, you know, fallen in need, they can apply for SNAP benefits, which would automatically give them, you know, like $400 a month in food benefits. So I don't know if that really matters a lot, or, you know, if maybe we should maybe be educating these people to say, hey, you know, you could be eligible for these state benefits. So instead of trying to get food from the food bank, maybe you can get, you know, financial assistance from the state or something like that. I don't know.
Well, Stefan, I am now establishing a new farmers market on the east side of the Big Island where we can do SNAP benefits. And believe me, everybody that's coming there already knows what they can do for unemployment and SNAP benefits. They are now at going to the food bank, and that's where we found this one group in Waimea that was literally providing diapers to families that food was more important than diapers, which, you know, I'm not being judgmental. I joked with all my friends this morning at our Rotary Club. I'd much rather repack diapers to get to families than change diapers on kids. So yeah, we're gonna pile in on that, but no, the folks that are hurting already know all the other means. Now it's how do we keep them going? Sorry.
No, definitely. That's a good point, and thank you for that.
And Mike, what was that? Is that a goat? Or
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sounds
Naomi,
like parrots.
you will run into this next week when you induct one of our new members. I always usually stay muted because my parrot will hear me start talking, and he's outside in a giant aviary, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Here's
okay.
my voice. He's charming. Sorry.
It's a parrot.
He
Because we're
doesn't,
looking for a
he doesn't
veterinarian.
swear, right? I mean,
Yeah, the parrot interrupt. We're a morning club, so when we're doing our Zoom meetings, that's when he's like waking up, and oh yeah, so I have to stay muted a lot, which is actually very good for our members.
Okay, but we need a veterinarian to go with us to Nepal. So if you don't know somebody. Hey, so what other kinds of needs are there out there? Does everybody have a chance to talk?
So for what I noticed with our is more of a school. And I noticed in our school that a lot of students usually don't have really good internet connection. And the school has been pretty good in providing MiFis, portable Wi-Fi, so the students, you know, can do their homework, can do their schoolwork. not have their connection be interrupted during school. And I noticed, for some students, is this virtual learning has been difficult for them because a lot of them prefer something that more in person, but a lot of them don't have that opportunity. And I can speak for my school, but I don't know how other schools are faring with it. This is a conversation from earlier, Naomi. Thank you. But I think if Rotarians even can even provide some mentorship during the weekends or mentorship during after school to guide these students with help them with their homework, help them keep up and all that. I think it'll be something that that we can fulfill a need in the community. But yeah, like I said, I don't know how the intermediate is faring. I don't know how the elementary schools are faring, but for my school, I know some students are struggling with that.
Okay. Okay, any other comments?
I think for the Eco Rotary Club, I don't know if we have as good of a pulse on some of the social, and economic issues that some of you are more familiar with. We did a food tree planting that kind of is an environmental project, but it was to provide food for a Kahauiki village. And I'm actually it reminds me to follow up with them and see how it went, because we may go back and provide more trees that can provide food to those people. Another area which is related to a project that we want to do is island-wide cleanups, but it is actually an issue that's increasing. A lot of the nonprofits used to have very large-scale community events which involve beach cleanups or other types of cleanups, and they haven't been able to have those because they can't have large gatherings. And the marine debris issue on some of the beaches, especially on the northeast side, which a lot of our Hawaiian and lower income communities are, it's falling behind. So, I mean, I think that's the only thing we could say we have a little pulse on that I'll comment on is a lot of those services have stopped. And I don't know how, I think feeding people would be a more high priority thing to worry about right this second. But those are the things that we're looking at, organizing individual small group activities that are wide scale.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like there is a lot of smaller things that we can do. And sorry, Stephen, did you want to bring something up?
Yeah, thanks, Stephen, for bringing that up. I wanted to comment on what they were talking about as far the Rotarians at Work Day coming up at the end of April. We'd like to try and plan on, was it the reef to the mountain kind of cleanup?
Yeah.
And try to get a whole bunch of other organizations involved, and definitely as many District 5000 clubs as we can involved, as to clean up their own areas or going out into other areas and cleaning up, or collaborating with other organizations and partnering up, whatever. But the definitely the whole statewide cleanup sounds like a really great idea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's something we can do on our own. And some of these other ideas we can do on our own that we really don't need to have some funding. But are there projects that you need funds for? So say if we had a $5,000 grant for each county. So Kauai 5,000, Oahu 5,000. And so we had 4 of these 5,000 grants, plus maybe 5 1,000 grants for projects for making an impact in your community. Is that something that would help you to help your community?
I'm thinking for our club, the Kahauiki project did cost money, and the idea is to permanently provide fruit and food in a community that lacks the income to buy all the food that they need. And I don't know if we duplicated that in other communities, continuing to plant fruit trees. I think we're becoming the tree planting club, maybe. But if it provides food, I could say it's a community need. If we could duplicate the Kahauiki project somewhere else, we don't have anything planned right now. But I'm just thinking that's something that does need funding. Maybe not Actually, yeah, it can be quite expensive to get trees that have a high survival rate. They're a little bit bigger. They're not seeds, and they can be pretty expensive, especially if we scale it up. So that's something I'll talk to our club about. But that would be something we'd apply for a grant for, perhaps.
Well, on Maui, they planted a minimum of 500 fruit trees. So, Mark, those are all donated, right?
And that would always be our first strategy. Who can partner, who can donate, or provide low cost. So we don't necessarily automatically say that we would need a grant for it if we can find the right partner.
Naomi,
So
are
I'm
you
glad you
looking
brought
for
that
a
up. I actually,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Glenn?
No, I said, are you looking for some submission right now during your year to put this money out and someone to lead a grant or maybe several clubs to be a part of, or are you looking for just one club to do something?
Okay, so here's what happened. We had $10,000 to go to Taipei. And since we're not going to Taipei, we've got that. We cannot travel. Rotary International is not allowing us to do travel. They're not going to reimburse us for travel. So all of that money that we're not using, the finance committee said, okay, well, let's take some money and give that out to the clubs in form of grants. So I have a grant application that I'm going to send you guys. So you can apply for 5,000 or 1,000. So we have one 5,000 per county. So Kauai, Oahu, Maui, Big Island has 5,000 for that island. Plus we're going to have 1,000 grants. So you apply either by yourself with in your club, or you partner with clubs. Like for instance, last year there were 10 clubs that came up with 950 face masks that they wanted to give to first responders. And so they took one 5,000 grant, added more money from the district grants and their own club money, and then they bought almost 1,000 face shields. Okay, so you can do that. So if you have a need, you need some money for your project, this is a way that you can either do it on your own if you're successful in getting that application approved, or partner with different clubs so that you can get more money and do a bigger project. Okay, so
that explains it. And is there a target time on when you need the submissions done
That's
by?
what I was going to ask. What are the datelines?
Okay, so I need. Okay, so one-page application that looks like the district grant form that Mark did. So it's a one-page app. You put your proposal on the one-page app, give it to us by February 28th, end of this month. And then we'd like you to spend that money in 2 months. So by May 31st, you're done with your project and you do your final report. And so we need, just like a district grant, we need the receipts. Okay, so like Raji, if you wanted to do your mentorship and that didn't cost anything, that's no problem because we can help you with that. But say you wanted to buy some equipment that had better internet access or something for your student, put in an application. So we'll have a committee that will look at all of the application and award one per county, and then the 1,000. So those 1,000 apps grants would be for smaller projects, and you can always add to it. So South Hilo has a big foundation. Maybe they can add some more money. So, but we wanted to address the needs in our community. So this is one way we can help you get some money for doing something good in your community. So how's that sound?
Sounds absolutely wonderful.
Okay, so
yeah, that's good.
Okay, so I'll send you the applications if you want to partner up with other clubs so that you can get more money into the project, more hands, and the committee would look at the merit of the applications and what kind of impact it would make. So of course, something that's very impactful that's going to help a lot of people will fare better than something that's a pickup. So so Cece's project, okay, Cece's not here anymore, but her project with the city to there's 300 units that are going to be available for homeless families or individuals in the next 6 months. And so they need move-in kits, you know, like toilet paper and dishwashing liquids and plates and bedding and things like that. So okay, so I'll send you guys the application. Get it to us by the end of this month, and then we'll get you the funds right away. Finish the application, finish the project by May 31st. Okay, how's that sound? Good?
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Before we sign
Okay.
off, Sharon,
Yeah.
can you unmute and see if you're working now? Oh, no.
Okay, so we're not going to sign off yet because we've got some other things to think about, because there are some projects that we can do without funding. And one of the projects that we want to do is that trash pickup on April 24th. And that's why April is here, because it's her April project in April.
That makes sense. Go.
Go for it, April.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Real quick, I did want to piggyback off of what Steve was mentioning with the Kawahiki Village. I've been working with Edible Landscapes and More, and the OFC Surfrider and LLC Growing Together about creating a forest garden package for Kawahiki Village. I had kind of put a pin in it because we hadn't had a great success rate, I guess, as I was told from our incoming president, Christina, that the trees were not getting cared for that we had planted there. So we need to kind of rethink and get a champion in that community to help the community get involved and want to add more, because we would love to give them a fully edible garden. And I have some folks and garden designers that want to contribute their skills, but it will not be free. So that is a really awesome opportunity for us to make an impact in that community with that grant money. All right, the April 24th Rotarians at Work Day. I had a crazy little idea that I threw out to Naomi back in probably November, December. And my idea was this, initiating an annual Ridge to Reef audit of the islands. And because of COVID-19, we're going to try to promote this as like a solo style cleanup, because we cannot have the large gatherings. You know, that may change over time, but we're going to kind of plan as is. So what I'm asking is that all of us as Rotarians to try to select an area in our community that needs some attention, that needs some cleanup. But in addition to the cleanup, what I'm hoping to do is record what waste is collected in those areas. And the reason for recording that waste and kind of auditing, you know, how many cigarette butts, how many bottle caps, how many plastic chip bags, is that every year we want to come back to and kind of adopt that area and see if there's any improvement or see if it's gotten any worse. And from that collection of data, what I'm hopeful for is that each Rotarian group in the area that they adopt could kind of discover more projects that we could do to help improve that, whether it is, you know, installing cigarette butt receptacles or creating a recycling program. For example, today I was working in Waimanalo at a Kupuna housing unit, and there's no recycling option there. So unfortunately what happens is there's a lot of waste, and sometimes the waste is blowing around. Maybe we need to help a better securing of the rubbish so that that doesn't create that land pollution. So that's just one little small part of it. As far as the reef cleanup and auditing goes, I've been working with a few divers and just talking to people and like learning what areas are having the worst trash collecting. And Steve has already mentioned that because the cleanups have dropped off dramatically in the last year, the accumulation is faster than what few volunteers are left can keep up with. So just identifying reefs that are getting accumulated with ghost nets, with fishing line. And another big problem that I hear continuously is the lead, the sinkers, right? The weighted the weights for the fishing lines. So I'm working with a fella up in California, and he has 2 chapters on Oahu and I'm sorry, 2 chapters on Hawaii Island and 1 chapter on Oahu. And we're working with them to identify some areas, and anybody who wants to possibly go out on a boat and dive and clean up in that regard, to try to provide those opportunities wherever we possibly can. I think it'll be somewhat limited. I believe you're not allowed to have more than 5 people on a vessel at this time. That might change, but essentially doing this cleanup throughout the islands in small but very compounding and impactful ways. And over the years, I'm confident that if we start now with the environment as this new area of focus, that over time it is going to impact the community, and that awareness, getting out and getting awareness of what Rotarians are doing at work. A big area for opportunity, especially here on Oahu, that's been identified is the Pearl Harbor Biking and Walking Trail. It's over 5-mile long trail that doesn't get used as much as, especially I think we need right now, is outdoor activity, especially for all of us who are inside on Zoom calls often, to get out and exercise. But that area has been identified as needing a little TLC. So maybe as Rotarians, we can get out there, spread out over those 5 miles, and really create some exposure, you know, having our shirts on and creating that awareness. So that's kind of my idea in a nutshell, is this Ridge to Reef audit of the islands. It's an annual adoption of an area that you know needs a cleanup, see what kind of accumulation of trash is there, whether it's the ocean pollution or land, you know, whether it's microplastics on the beach or plastic bottles blowing around in your neighborhood. Addressing what kind of rubbish we're finding and how to clean it up. And I'm trying to work with Sustainable Coastlines to use their data card information, and Surfrider Foundation. They have these data collection cards that have it broken down by category. And one of the things I want to emphasize to this too, and what I've heard from other folks when they do these audit, not just the cleanup, you pick it up, throw it away or recycle it, but auditing it does take a little bit of time. That's where I'm hopeful that we can get Interact and Rotaract students involved, and really, you know, start with the youth to create this awareness. And once they see the pollution and the waste, maybe it will, you know, cause them to change some of their behaviors. And I think it's a really awesome opportunity to get them involved, and hopefully continue this project year after year. So that's the long and short of it. If anybody has questions, my email is aprilbolus@gmail.com. I'll try to write that in the chat. I pulled over on the side of the road here. I was on my drive home.
Okay, so April, Carol Reynolds, Hickam Pearl Harbor Club said they have been cleaning up that Pearl Harbor Trail. So it might be good to work with her to see what they've done, and maybe we can get some other groups to help Carol. Okay, so this is the call to action that April is putting out there. If your club would like to participate in this Rotarians at Work Day, this cleanup project, we want to take it out statewide and try and do a big cleanup all over the state. So we need champions on each island to coordinate get the information out and coordinate the group efforts if there are larger areas that need really a lot of work on. Okay, so Hilo side, Mike, maybe you and Keith, you know, and some other, and Benson, you guys can work on the Hilo side. Coleman can do their own, and then Kauai. So every island, if we can find. So if you are interested in coordinating that, I'll let April know. And April, if you can kind of do a instructions on what you are just talked about and put it in writing, and maybe do a flyer that we can get it out to all of the community service chairs. So anybody interested in doing this project? So Raji can get their interactors to help with the Pearl Harbor Trail, to write down it's right in your neighborhood.
Yes.
Ms. Naomi.
Yes.
Also, I was recently contacted by the community police in Kalihi area. because we were just talking about doing the same cleanup kind of area, cleanup in that area. And I contacted them because I figured they would know the best times, best safe, you know, and all that. And they said that we should be contacting the Parks and Rec for those different communities, because they are struggling they can't pay people, so nobody is doing all the cleanup of the parks. That's what we are talking about now. So if we connect with the Parks and Recs and then the community police stations in whatever areas we are, then we know we will have, you know, at least help. And the people in the community who want that and don't know how to just start it, if we already have these little cleanup work days and programs going on, they will benefit from that too, because we'll be right in the community we're in and working with the people who live there.
This is Glenn. Several years ago, that Pearl Harbor was a major Rotary and Lions Club combo type of cleanup on that whole Pearl Harbor trail. And one of the key elements for this to be succeeding is you've got to get the trucks to come by and pick up all the trash that you're putting in. And if you haven't coordinated that, you're going to end up with it. What are you gonna do? Stick it in your trunk and try to go find a dumpster? It was a hugely partnership with the city and the Rotary and the Lions Club to make that happen. I wasn't I'm not volunteering to do that, but I just want to point out that if you're going to do something on this scale, you're going to have to bring in the city on it, or you're going to end up with a lot of bags just sitting on the side of the road and not getting put where you want them to go.
Yep, exactly. That is one of the things that we need to do. So that issue has been brought up. Okay, so if we can all take that back to your club and see if your club wants to participate on this project April 24th, and then April's going to keep track of where we're going and keep track of the audits that we do. Right, April?
I'm going to do my best. This is a first time doing something like this. So, it can only get better from here. We're going to make it up as we go. And yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm been glad to hear some feedback and really, really good input of how to try to make it as successful as possible.
Okay.
Naomi?
Yes.
Just one other thought along those lines. Matson also, that they will pay $1,000, to a club to go out and clean a particular area. Wally initiated it over here for several years in a row, and it doesn't have to be something humongous, but they like the exposure to the public in doing good things, and we've done projects over here with especially with rotor actors and stuff, helping us go clean up an area. Wally would find an area that's got a bunch of tires and junk there, and Matson gives the club $1,000 to go out and clean it up. So just a little bit of incentive there on the cleanup for Rotary Day.
Thanks. Awesome. On Kauai, they do that too. They partner with Matson for that $1,000. Okay. So Benson, oh, sorry, Benson, you were going to say something? No? Okay, so some of these projects we can do already without money. And so what we want to do on the district website, we have a page where we can post projects. So if someone wants to jump in, or if you just want to let people know what you're doing. So on the district website, there's on the left-hand side, there's a place where you can send in information on projects or fundraisers or events, and then we'll post it on the website. So until we get what Benson's talking about with that sign up thing, we can still put it on the website. There's also the Rotary Showcase where you can put in projects and people can look and volunteer through the Rotary website. Okay, so let's take a look at the projects that we can do and make a difference in our communities and get those things done, because I think if we partner with Interact, Rotaract, they want to help. And you can partner with other organizations. The district governor of Lions Club can, I'm going to contact him and see if he wants to help us with the trash pickup in April. But look for those partners that can help you and make a bigger impact in your community. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up, Vincent?
No, I'm good. You said everything.
Lonnie? No? Okay, so Lonnie, you had some really good projects the last time, so take a look at what you want to do in your community too, and see if we can get you some money with those grants. Okay. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Oh, sorry. Stephen Morgan, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm just thank you. Keep up the good work.
Okay, and don't forget to put your activities into the Rotary Club Central so we can log in all of the